Alright, I've done precisely 3 broadsides, 187 hull hits, and the first ship is dead. These are the pro shots you need to do in naval action to actually have a quality experience. And if you can't do that, well, you're just a noob that deserves to suffer. This is according to people who endorse these game mechanics. You're a new player. Your job, your existence, the whole point of what you do is to suffer. You don't have a choice but to suffer. Okay, we're six minutes into the match. Third rate's taken 3 broadsides from me through his structure. 2 through the bow. First broadside opened the bow. Second broadside took him down to about 40% structure health. Last broadside removed stern armor and reduced all the hit points. So 3 broadsides, he's dead. And these are the pro shots that is what Game Labs has decided this game is about. I don't like them. I think there should be options. You should be able to kill ships through the side without having to spend 40 minutes doing so. But that's not what Game Labs says. So it's basically you have one option: suffer or get good. And someone who's trained players how to play this game, I understand that managing your rudder and 2 yards and getting your angles, shooting angles right, is not something, and you know, your convergences and your distance, this is not something that comes easily. It takes hours and hours and hours and hours, hundreds to thousands of hours of practice. And see, I'm not a very good leak sinker. That's another way you can shorten battles and get things done fast. You leak sink, but even after thousands of hours of practice, I suck at leak sinking. Alright, so this ship is going to present its stern for me. I'm hoping I can get some form of rake, but most likely not all guns will be ready by then. And it's going to be close. And I blew the rake. My speed wasn't great enough. It's a judgment game. You cannot... you make mistakes, you pay for them. And what you see me here is I'm stern camping in a first rate. I'm in the Action, which is a very big first rate. And this is completely antithetical. Both the Victory and the Action and the Bologna that I sank are ships of the line. We're not line fighting here. There would be no point to line fight. If you line fought, it would take me, you know, 50 minutes minimum in this fight, when if you just do the reiki stern camp thing, which is rather frustrating to do in a first rate. No one maneuvered first rates like this, but this is the historical, beautifully detailed, ultra realistic. I mean, everyone defending this new change is saying, well, it's much more realistic. Oh, really? I never noticed first rates maneuvering for the stern like this. Yeah, if they could cut the line, they would rake. Trafalgar mentions that. But they did not do this. This is not realistic gameplay by any stretch of the imagination. And but you know, as a gamer, I don't want to sit here for 50 minutes shooting at a broadside. So I am going to, well, actually, I'm just going to open his stern up however I can, and board the thing. So, boarding is a very fast way to end the fight. And while I could board him right now, AI are known to cheat, so very risky to. And that's another thing, because of the Reiki mechanics, which they only made worse with this update. Game Labs has created some artificial, highly unrealistic turning maneuvers, to where this guy gets super maneuverable at a dead stop. I mean, he can just push his bow around like he's got bow thrusters on. You tack a first rate through the wind, you ran the risk of losing a mast. You didn't tack first rates through the wind inside of 45 minutes. You're talking about a fortress here, and don't worry, it's a beautifully detailed sandbox, ultra realistic game, except it's not. It's only, I mean, now all my critics are going to say, well, it's a computer game, it's subjective. Where are you guys with this line when everyone's defending it as, well, this is more realistic? Computer games get to pick what realism they want. I agree. So don't trot out the excuse that this mechanic is good because it's realistic. I merely attack the mechanic by saying it's boring. It limits options. It is bad for new players. It is completely antithetical to having fun in this game. Oh, well, let's not think about that. We actually used the metrics that make a game successful and enjoyable. Well, there might be a problem. Back to trying to get on his stern. Must be careful, because the Victory will take my bowsprit off. And I really, well, I'm not going to need to repair because, you know, first rate side invulnerability. It's just annoying. Can I do it? I need to open that stern up a little more. Alright, let's turn a little bit this way. Now, Might have to slog through his armor and pray that a Loki comes in so that he stops doing the AI cheating. See, AI get a lot of books. And as soon as a Loki takes over the ship, they lose those abilities. Come on, big guns. Oh, slow the ship down. Big guns, big guns. There we go. Load, great. Pivot the ship. Some really annoying turn mechanics that the AI do. Yeah, I believe he's going to go ahead of me. Oh, right, the wind is shifting. Yeah, that's the other ultra-realistic mechanic. Game Labs really disliked the fact that good players knew how to use the wind and use the wind to escape gankers. And since, you know, if you don't have skill in this game, you just gank people. So they made it so that the wind does a complete 180-degree shift. So if it's blowing from the east, it blows from the west. Every 20 minutes, it blows. So you could set up a great wind so that you have the weather gauge, you have the wind advantage, something that's quite historical. You could set this up, but in 20 minutes, all they have to do is just keep you tagged by doing damage to you. And 20 minutes later, you're just surrounded because the wind shifts in their favor, and now you're just going to be run down because if there's one thing gankers know how to do, it's build fast ships, put 5 or 6 of them out there, and just kill you. Because they have the numbers and the ships. This game used to deliver epic PvP content for both small gang and solo players. Because there would be these low-skilled gankers that thought they were hot stuff, and so we would get some really good fights. And yes, most people went out there in rare wood ships, which gave them advantages, and rare guns, which gave them advantages. Now, that said, I've captured plenty of those. I've captured ships from people who did this in their rare guns and their rare woods. So, it's not like you couldn't run them down and defeat them. But it certainly was harder if they had rare guns and rare. You had to be careful. You had to be good. You had to have skill to win that fight. I have many examples of where I fought players solo, and they had 5, and I had just my DLC, which is a seasoned-only ship, and I would win because I had skill, I knew how to use the mechanics, and they were just trying to compensate for their lack of skill with numbers. which in this game, if you didn't know how to use the wind and you weren't very good at fighting, this game didn't let you do that. So the devs have decided to change that by twiddling with the wind mechanics so that the dirty solo gankers had no defense against the game gankers. The gang of gankers. I know we ruined the game by using our rare woods and our knowledge and it's just so terrible that we actually, you know, bought 3 or 4 accounts so that we could run trade routes, so that we could afford to spend several $100 million on a ship, so that we could risk it fighting 4 or 5 people. That's just horrible. It reminds me of what the U.S. military does. I mean, that should not be allowed. Spending lots of money to get good gear that allows you to fight people who just want to overwhelm you with numbers and firepower. And no, not just the U.S. military does that. Lots of militaries do that. It's very good sense to spend money that gives your troops the advantage so that your guys don't come home in body bags just because the other group overwhelmed them. If I can get one more grape off on this. If you turn 7 off, you'll get more crew going to prep. And forward, please. Now I have 100 prep, he has 27. See if we can one-shot kill this guy. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Boarding is kind of dicey that way. Timer 3, 2, 1, fire, swivel guns, here we go. We'll press attack on the very final second and see if I can take the ship. There we go. Okay, well, that concludes this video. I was looking for a permit, did not get it. Oh well. Teak fur. Yeah, it'll sell for a little bit. This is the new economy, by the way. Capture ships and you sell them to the shop. I'll take you into port and show you that feature, just so that you guys understand how you make money in Game Labs. New game that they just launched here. I know it technically launched in 2019, but they constantly change it. It's a new game every 6 months. So, isn't it? I'm glad it's a free-to-play game because I wouldn't buy it again. Now, if they put it back to 2019 or 2020 or 2021 mechanics, yes, I would buy that again. That gave me some really epic, enjoyable experiences. But now it's even the epic fights that I posted yesterday. The most fun is blowing somebody up. Everything else is just kind of tedious, maneuver for the rake or maneuver for the boarding, or It's not actually strategy. It's not exercising discipline. It's not projecting firepower on a ship's side. It's just maneuver for those trick shots. Which, I don't know. Son, do you like the trick shots?
Oh.
Alright, my 9-year-old plays the game. He has an account. He does not like the trick shots either. So, not sure who Game Labs is trying to please here, because my generation and the generation coming up doesn't view this as fun and enjoyable. But anyway, I'll try not to rant on that too much. It is a constant theme for me, but because I used to love this game, I used to enjoy it. It used to give me the best solo small gang combat of any MMO out there. And then they just added all these mechanics that penalize the solo small gang people. In fact, the only way we get PvP now, because of these green safe zones, the only way we get PvP is we find someone here, or in the shallows, and shallows are just a joke. I don't PvP in the shallows. It's, you know, 4 or 5 shots through your ship. I had a gold Niagara. It died in like 2 minutes. And that wasn't 2 minutes of sustained fire. That was, I turned, someone raked me, I was dead. But anyway, these green safe zones, which cover almost every coastline, I would say 97, 98% of the coastline, these green safe zones prohibit PvP, small gang PvP. So, now you would think that this was good because this gives players a safe area to grind AI. Well, the other thing is, I mean, down here in Veracruz, you used to get first rates, second rates, third rates, and it was a real good area to farm and get experience. Well, if you want first rates, second rates, third rates, now you have to go here, outside the safe zone. The only thing you'll find in here on these green areas are 4th rates and below. So it really didn't help the PvE or experience either. The players who just want to attack attack and rank up and be left alone. You know, the players who should be on the peace server, where no PvP is allowed, all it does is makes you have to go to a condensed area on the map if you want to attack high-ranked ships for the permits, for the doubloons, for the experience. Which means all the PvPers on the server, really, they're right here. They don't have to worry about the rest of the map, which is basically, I mean, first-rate zone around here. We used to have to pick which free towns we would have for hunting players. And I never hunted around here. I would hunt out of Tumbado. I'd hunt out of La Tortue. I would go up here on the Atlantic coast because there was always an American hitting 4th rates up there. I would go here, the western Florida coastline. We would get fights out of here, the western tip of Cuba. But there's only so many ports you can have. Now, yes, if your account is dedicated to PvP, I think you can have, what is it, 12 outposts? So you can have quite a few if that's all you do with your account. But, I mean, I craft ships, so I have to have outposts for crafting. Alright. Let's show you. Extra rum, just destroy it. Not interested in the 400 rum. Alright. Take the guns off. And let's see. Send to docks. Okay, so Victory has no guns, has nothing in the hold. And we're telling you, here's how you make money. You sell it to the shop. Well, how do you do that? You see this right here, 324,591. You just click that and you can sell it to the Admiralty shop. Now, if you want to sell it to auction, you can do that. That puts it up. Auction is for players. This is NPCs buying it. And this is if you want to break your ship up to get raw materials, which has hardly ever been worth it. You might get some stone and some iron. I don't know why you get stone, but hey, Game Lab's logic. You hardly ever get any wood in significant quantities. I mean, this thing takes a couple thousand logs to build. You might get 100. Yeah, that makes sense. So we just sell for reals, okay? Ship sold successfully, made money. All right, guys. And I want to point something out. At 12:38 my time, the Fog, who is leader of BotBG clan, wrote, "So well, nation, I'm done with NA, Naval Action, after 12,500 hours. At all, it was a nice time to play with you all, but now it's time to go new ways. Wish you all anytime fair winds." So after 12,500 hours, the Fog, who is the clan leader of BotBG, a fairly large clan, and he has been a fixture in this community for years and years. He's out of here. And I know that his clan warehouse has been ripped off twice because there's literally no mechanic to prevent it. There is, and to my understanding, the devs haven't addressed anything in his direct petitions to them. That clan has lost over 500 million reals, and the devs have done nothing, said nothing, addressed nothing to my understanding. So combine that issue with all the other changes and the general lack of concern that we seem to see from the developers toward their community, the Fog has decided he can find satisfaction in some other games where he's actually appreciated. Now, this is just what I'm supposing. I am filling in context here based off of my interactions with many members of the community that still play this game. The developers really appear to only care about you liking their ideas. And if you don't like their ideas, you're banned, you're abused, you're ignored. I personally am banned from their forums and their Discord because I am a, quote, disrespectful player. And all I did is I refused to hold their hand and gratify their ego. You have no rights as a customer of this product. You are basically along for whatever ride they want to take you on. And in the case of the Fog, he said, I'm getting off this train. So that's it. This is the Irate Pirate Rant for Mostly Harmless Entertainment.